Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first NGS cast of the season in a three-way tie with two other casts that are also going on right now. And as well, welcome back to the Ace and Ektar Heroes of the Storm casting podcast. I'm still Ektar, and he's still Ace. And Ace, welcome to season 14.
It's a fortnight a season, so that means there's building heroes everywhere. Wait, what? What?
Oh.
Okay. There's no special events going on, as usual, but it's always good to be back with the same old NGS stuff that we've been enjoying for over 5 years now.
And because it is a new, very slightly modified season to previous seasons, we have a brand new casting overlay, so just making sure that things are getting updated nicely. We can see we've got our 11 map pool on the bottom there. Anyone of you keyed-eyed observers might have noticed that it said Scrim Replay instead of A East at the start, but that has been fixed as well. I'm reasonably certain we've got our 30-second mandatory delay going on, and everything should, fingers crossed, be good to go, but as always, first cast of a new season, possibly a little bit of growing pains, so if you have any issues with the stream, please feel free to let us know.
Sounds good to us. We have readies from at least one team and a 1 second here for the other. So, Ektar, who do we have today? Psistorm Dragoons. Always good to see some more Brood War unit action. Versus Midnight of Mummies.
Yeah, Midnight of Mummies being about half of the formerly Masters of Mayhem, and Psistorm Dragoons, I believe, is a modified Psistorm team from the previous season as well, so a lot of NGS players maybe not always having played with this same group of people, but definitely a lot of returning faces and names that we get to see here tonight.
Yeah, just taking a quick peek at the profiles and the squads, we do have plenty of members of the Psistorm Dragoons with about 50 matches played. And then on the side of Midnight of Mummies, they do have several people near that 90 to 100 match veterancy kind of point. So it's good to see a bunch of people back, and let's get into it. Draft game number 1 on Battlefield of Eternity. How did we get here, Ektar?
We got here because the coin toss was won by... Oh god, I forget names. Was won by Midnight of Mummies. Was won by Psistorm Dragoons. They opted for first hero pick. Midnight of Mummies banned out Volskaya Foundry, and Dragonshire Psistorm Dragoons brand out Brax's Holdout and Sky Temple. And we find ourselves on Battlefield of Eternity for game number 1, where we're going to have a Vala getting banned.
An entirely reasonable ban. She's just a good hero, especially on this map. Although it does take away from her Q build a little, or her auto attack build, if you take her on this map, because you generally want to bring her into the race. But race Vala is also very, very good.
I realized I forgot to update the stream title, so I'm doing that right now.
Oh no! All right, a new banned out by Midnight of Mummies, and Stukov banned out by Psistorm Dragoons. Now, Ektar, since we've been casting, Blizzard has essentially taken this game and said, all right, we're putting it on the shelf. We're done, period, with it. There's basically going to be nothing else done to it. So the heroes in their state are how they're going to be.
I thought that they said that they might still do some balance changes.
We'll see.
Copium in the chat.
Yeah, any amount of cope is good. So Stukov remains cleanseless, and which always would be the case, but still, I think not the most impactful hero. But see what we got. Johanna, though, very impactful hero, picked up by Chaos Pigeon first here for the Dragoons.
You are right, and Spectrum, you're right as well. The teams decided to put themselves not on the correct sides. Thankfully, we've got a button for that.
That's the origin of the tool, is swapping team sides. Just don't worry about the logos.
The logos will get swapped, right? Yeah. Logos
on stream
on
they
the
do,
overlay
just
get swapped.
not
in the controller, but that is a-okay. Anduin Leeming getting picked up. Anduin, I always like to say he's kind of the most generic, like, good stuff healer in the game, and Leeming, not quite so generically good, but particularly good on Battlefield of Eternity because her long-range abilities give really good poke on the Immortal and makes her particularly hard to deal with when the Immortals are in race positions.
Yep, I agree with you there. Definitely the most competent mage as far as burns go, but also has incredible teamfight potential, which you will see a very significant amount of on this map.
And speaking of heroes with good teamfight potential, late game Zul'jin, we've seen a couple of times in the previous season being played on this map to great effect. Zul'jin, very good left uncontested on race, as well as he's just his own late game win condition, and with as much general skirmishing as you're likely to have on this map, he should almost always get stacked.
Yep, that is, that's I've seen, as you said, several teams run it, and it is very good, especially with the era meta that leads everyone to get practice on Zul'jin. So, we've got Hogger and Lucio as well for Psistorm Dragoons. That's a very reasonable set of heroes. Lucio able to apply high fives en masse to cleanse, or to provide a big counter engagement with the beat drop. And Hogger obviously just remains good.
Yeah, remains generally good, is also quite good on the race with his ability to throw down the loot horde and bounce off of it for high damage. Sonya and Muradin are both decent in their respective role, however they're both particularly good in an aggressive role. Sonya with Leap Muradin with Dwarf Toss, able to get deep into the enemy team, do a lot of damage in the backline, and also set up that CC, so Li Ming and presumably another range assassin it's looking like, coming out to really help secure one target. We've got a double healer coming out from the side of Psistorm Dragoons. Often you tend to see Kerosene being run as a kind of melee assassin, especially with that 7-sided strike. But with the setup we have coming out from them, I don't think that's actually the case. I think it's a partially racy hero with a very consistent set of cleanses later in the game.
Yeah, having it for the cleanses is very, very good, and that could allow Lunas Gwyn to be able to play run the beat drop instead of high five. So it is solo damage Rainer here as far as dedicated damage dealers, but there's a little lack of damage here on the left side for the Psistorm Dragoons. They'll be able to play an interesting 4 defense 1 race style, but I'm worried about them coming up a little short on the damage, whereas Midnight and Mummies just have a very classic BoE composition.
Yeah, shout out to both teams for having full portrait synergy. You'd love to see that, so no advantage in the early game to either team. Also, let's go with the good internet connections today. Alrighty, spawning on the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, they are Psistorm Dragoons with Lunas Gwyn playing the Lucio Chaos Pigeon on the Johanna. The Red Rook is on Brood War Jimmy. We've got Senpai playing the undecided level 1 Monk, and then in the top lane we've got Bramble on the Hogchamp.
Alrighty, and on the right side of the map, in the orange or red trunks that I do not know of which,
Orange.
We do orange trunks. You do have colorblind on. We've got Midnight of Mummies with Shui playing Greymane, Shoes playing Anduin Bricky on the Muradin, Huckett on the Li Ming, and in the top, Andrew on the Sonya.
I'm almost completely certain that Shui and Andrew were together on a regen team at some point in the
I
past.
would believe that.
Those names are very familiar. Ooh, I love the
Sweet.
smooth moves coming out from Lucio. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I feel like I see Accelerando a little bit more, but smooth moves, always a good talent to take.
Yeah, on the other hand, we have the even-handed blessings, I think is a little bit less common of a choice. I'm biased, though, because I play quite a bit of Anduin, and I don't particularly like this talent, because it doesn't help you necessarily to heal the target that needs the most healing when they need it. It helps with your AoE healing, but so does the Lightwell. Personal choices aside, we do have Aetherwalker. Good job, Blizzard dev team. You got them to want to take it. Oh, Lucio getting almost engaged on very heavily by Bricky there, but just barely missing out on the Stormbolt.
Yep, this is, I mean, neither team, especially Psistorm Dragoons, does not have a ton of damage. as mentioned, so they're not going to be able to find kills particularly easily, and they don't have a lot of CC either. Neither Lucio nor Kerosene bring any follow-up CC. Only Lucio with follow-up boot can do that. So, and not a whole lot of capability to just hold somebody down and put a bunch of damage into them.
Yeah, it's going to be Psistorm Dragoons mostly just surviving and existing in the area. Midnight of Mummies will be the team that has the choice of when and, in particular, where a lot of these teamfights are going to happen, because they have the additional lockdown in that Stormbolt and the Chastise. As well as level 10, possibly with Leap, is a pretty big addition as well.
In top lane, I think Bramble just took a Hearth back to base, grabbed a little bit of health, did not miss out on too much soak. Actually, I think picked up a bunch of quarters soak, so may missed about 4 minions of XP there, but not a huge difference, as both teams were at once posturing over bottom camp. Now it looks like Psistorm and Dragoons looking for their bruisers, while Midnight and Mummies with the longer rotation are opting to take the bottom camp up in a 3v2 here.
Shwee's actually going to make it into a 4v2. Yeah, Bricky is taking just a little bit of inconsequential damage so he can exist in that forward area. We do have Joe is stepping onto the point now as the rest of Psistorm Dragoons are able to step onto the point, and Bricky taking just a little bit too much damage. They're going to deal all of the damage, but not reap any of the benefits of that bottom camp. Additionally, although it was a little bit early, Psistorm was able to take their Bruiser camp as well, so they have 2 camps pushing in bottom lane right now, which is going to be a little bit more difficult for the members of Midnight of Mummies to clear.
Yep, and they do have the Exterminator on that, so the Inspire will not run out, one of the weird parts of the talent. I also saw the Johanna, what was that? Almost clear, or maybe clear subdue after level 4, but the talent wasn't taken yet on that camp. Big bummers. Johanna's actually rooted their forces out the D-Shield, and at halftime, it's like it is all favoring Psistorm Dragoons right now.
Yeah, it mentioned it at level 1, but it didn't get chosen yet. It is Iron Fist coming out from Senpai, not a huge surprise there. And we have both teams just deciding to get their race on that is going to go in favor of Psistorm Dragoons. Just under half race dealt by Midnight of Mummies on their side. And both the Bruisers just kind of never left top lane.
Yeah. Now that's good to note that both teams' race at this point are roughly equal, so teams can use that as a barometer for how they're going to do. Shwee's going to take a bunch of damage, but he's going to not make it out. Really thought that was going to work, but Rook with a nice Inspire auto plus Q finishes the kill over the wall for first blood.
Yeah, Bricky's out there pretty far, but he does have the Dwarf Toss to get back on out of there. Just taking a little bit of damage so that the buildings don't have to take it necessarily. Nice little 2-hit coming out from Boris Shoes. Bricky is gonna be able to Dwarf Toss out again. He's really got the timing on these Dwarf Tosses. He knows when it's gonna be available in time for him to leap out, so he can just walk in, absorb some damage. It's not gonna be enough to have saved this fort, but then get out scotch-free.
So far, everything's looking great here for Psistorm Dragoons. Their early pressure with the camps has allowed them to take first fort here in the bottom lane, opening that area up and giving them passive XP and a catapult every third wave.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to see if they could catch someone on rotation towards that camp. I would have been very surprised if they tried to actually take it themselves. Just taking a bit of an aggro rotation to see if they can find anything. Not going to find anything.
It's alright, Ektor's dog's going a little crazy as we see Psistorm Dragoons going to go ahead, grab the top camp, trade it out for the Bruiser camp of Midnight of Mummies. So they're going to go ahead and kind of have a meeting in the top lane, see who gets rotated down. Right now it's Gleaming and Hogger here in the bottom lane as the combatants, but Gleaming will switch with Sonya as the camps collide in top.
Yeah, for the audience, that was my little dog, Hyperion. He's just shouting his opinion to make sure that the Red Rook takes the correct level 10.
Well, he does have a slight preference on those. We'll have to see if we get it in about one level, because Eremicha is quite a strong ult on this map.
It is. I think it's probably generally better, but I mean, try explaining logic to a dog. Ricky taking a lot of damage, and looks like he might... Oh, just barely survives. And they get the counter kill onto Senpai.
Wow, that was really big there. Bricky just barely able to escape. Nice job by Red Rook to hit the penetrate around to interrupt the jump. That is a very tight timing window, but ultimately Senpai just overextended for it, trying to make the kill happen, and it's a counter kill at a very critical time here for Midnight and Mummies.
Yep, their opponents are going to go ahead and take their camp because they don't have the opportunity to defend, which is what their team comp does generally better. They're certainly not a race comp, but down a full hero, they're also not much of a defensive comp. They're up level 10 right now, and they're looking to try to make an engagement happen. Hogger is able to throw himself in there, and they're going to find the first kill onto Anduin. And then they're going to find Bricky with the 7-sided strike, so 2-0 with that level 10 advantage. And this is going to allow them to race out the rest of this Immortal.
Yeah, and because it got pushed all the way to halftime, Psistorm Dragoons don't have to wait at all for this to go for another phase. So they're going to be able to burn the whole thing down really, really quickly without Midnight and Mummies being able to respond to it. So really nice job taking that level 10 fight as Midnight and Mummies just stuck around just a bit too long.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of teams, I feel, have started to deprioritize straight race. It doesn't really matter how well any individual hero races if you can just force and win a team fight, and then you're just going to be up in heroes. The enemy team can't contest you, and then sure, you race a little bit slower, but you still get the Immortal.
Yeah, but the important part there is that you have to be able to force the team fight. Here, it's actually the Hogger that does it, since the Hogger plus a Johanna Falling Sword.
Yeah. A lot of potential cleanses coming out from Psistorm as well.
Very interesting. We've got the full E-build so far coming out from the Li Ming, not opting into the Seeker missiles to go ahead and do some extra damage to the single targets like the Immortals, so isn't going to burn it quite as quickly, and while I don't think it would have made it might have made a difference. Top fort goes down as the fight continues. Anduin light bombs himself and tries to go back in, but does not make it in time. Chaos Pitch lands on Shui and Bricky, and Shui's now cut off. Going to be taken out as well. 2 more kills over to Psistorm Dragoons, and they are looking good.
Yeah, so while Psistorm Dragoons don't have the strongest engages, Loot Horde into knockback is very good. And because they have 2 healers, they can actually afford to spend a full Lucio E on just getting the team in. So they can get their damage into position to deal damage to the members of Midnight and Mummies, and they can still have healing. And then they can use all of their strong damaging buttons without quite as much need for lockdown.
Yep, that's a very good point there, and that's how their comp's been running so far. Now we're going to have to see how this continues if Midnight and Mummies either adapts to it or kind of changes the way they want to go about things, because it is not working for them currently, but they also haven't had a chance to take a straight up even team fight for the last couple minutes. So we'll have to see if they can find one of those here roughly in the next objective phase, maybe a 15-13 fight.
2 things to bring up. 1, my dog got his heroics, so he's very happy. 2, Psistorm Dragoons are starting to get ahead in levels. Getting ahead in levels is very big in a double support comp, because that means that your opponents are going to have even more difficulty finding that first kill, which allows them to start really snowballing a team fight. Often we don't super talk about scaling off of just the levels, but in a double support comp, that scaling becomes even more important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard to get that first kill, but if you can do it, usually leads into a much bigger team fight. Now, 13's not here quite yet for Midnight and Mummies, and the issue is being forced. They're going to go ahead and retreat. Shui rolls back on in and does cede the full position here, so they're going to rotate down below and see if they can't make a fight happen from there as soon as they can get their 13s.
Yeah, but this is what Psistorm's composition does. They just find a position and stay there and say, come into us, and they're going to try to find damage on the Huckett. They're not going to get him. They did have a big commitment coming out from the Karazim, is just barely able to Radiant Dash away, and the counter engage is going to come out, and that's going to be the first kill coming out onto Sonya. Bricky and Shui very low as well, and down 1, they're certainly not going to be able to try to make this team fight happen any longer. Li Ming doing what they can, but that is looking like, at the very least, halftime going over in favor of Psistorm. We'll see what they can do from there.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to talk about scaling matter, I'm pretty sure that several people lived or died based on just the matter of 8% scaling that occurred. So, and 8% is a lot of health, a lot of damage to have to chew through. So, I think it made a big difference there, and that's why Psistorm Dragoons went ahead and took that fight.
Continuing on the theme of Heroes of the Storm mathematics, Li Ming is one of the few heroes in the game that does not scale at 4%. Her basic abilities scale at, I believe, 3%. Her heroic abilities scale at 5%. So Li Ming's basic kit gets worse as the game goes on, as they're going to find a kill onto Boris Shoes and maybe Bricky as well. That is a kill onto Bricky as well. Andrew does have the leap and is going to be able to get him out of there.
This is just running it down.
What that means, in essence, is Li Ming plays even worse from behind than most heroes. It's harder to get that first kill, so you can't get those resets. And because her scaling isn't as good as everybody else's, being behind is even worse for a team with Li Ming than for most teams.
Yeah, Puckett gonna have to try and find something, but it's just so hard to do it, especially committing with the Calamity being such a dangerous thing. Even going into the glass cannon to try and make it happen, but this looks like a possible game scenario here. A full talent tier lead, 3 levels of scaling, and a full health immortal no shield is going to be tough for Midnight and Mummies to hold.
They have all the heroics except for leaps. They can try to make a decent team fight here. All heroics except Hyperion available for the side of Psistorm. The Immortal is falling relatively fast, and it looks like... Oh, Midnight and Mummies are going to find a pretty decent engagement. The Unstoppable is going to get Bramble out of there. They didn't find an immediate kill, and I think they need to back up before they start to get counter-engaged on.
Yep, they took a good opportunity. Maybe they're going to try and do it. No, this is not good. Double healer comp has pushed through, sustained through this fight. Now Huckett taking a lot of damage along with Bricky. Bricky's going to be booped back by the Lucio. Will get a Dwarf Toss over, but not out. Andrew going to try and spin and win, but ends up dying. Now it's 5v3 on the core defense, and only a Miracle Li Ming-esque defense can save them here.
Yeah, and I think avoiding that single orb is going to be the thing that's going to keep them in there. Senpai is very low, but is going to get saved by the high five, but the core is falling fast. Red Brook has right-clicked. The face is the place, and that is game number 1 to Psistorm Dragoons.
Strong showing there. They really played their comp advantages properly. They ran it down when they need to. They disengaged when they need to, and they took game 1 very convincingly.
That's the most I've talked about straight up Heroes of the Storm math during a cast.
Yeah.
But, you know, speaking of numbers, we can go ahead and look at the numbers for that first game. Huckett, unsurprisingly, coming out on top in damage. Wasn't quite able to translate it into enough kills, and that is always the knife edge of drafting Li Ming. Sometimes you get the damage in the kills, and it just leads to more damage in kills, and sometimes you can't, and Li Ming is just kind of not able to get enough done. Boris Shoes topping out the healing, but not quite coming up to the total of both Lucio Karazim. Pretty darn close, though.
Yeah. What do I think for game number 2? Now that we've kind of seen these teams play, don't forget there's very little scouting information out right now. So a lot of these week 1 matches are going to be significant growth points for these teams. So we're going to have to see, you know, how do Midnight and Mummies, one of a team that I would expect to be quite good this season, respond to what looked to be quite a brutal thrashing in game 1.
Honestly, I think if that early team fight that was sort of happening in bottom lane snowballed just a little bit better, like if they won that bottom lane camp, didn't get put behind for the first objective, are able to keep even on, or even maybe even ahead on XP, I think that game could have snowballed just as hard in the other direction, but I think that it was going to snowball regardless, just based on the 2 different kinds of compositions that were drafted. Like, if double healer starts to get behind, then suddenly you can't keep your targets alive, and then nothing ever dies.
Yeah.
Well, we have found out where we're going for map number 2. And was picked by Psistorm Dragoons.
Yep, it's Towers of Doom here. So Losing team does get the option, first pick or map pick. They opted for the first pick. So that left Psistorm Dragoons to go ahead and pick up Towers of Doom as their map number 2, and it seems to complement that double healer play style.
I was thinking the same. Based off of what we saw in the previous game, this feels like a strong map for them.
Yep, definitely.
So, on the other hand, I would like to see if Midnight and Mummies can maybe take their attempts at macro advantages from the first game and see if they can make something work on this map. It's a lot harder. This is one of the hardest maps to gain macro advantage on, but I would still like to see them kind of try.
Fair enough, fair enough. So I'm looking at the Psistorm team here and trying to find where some of the teams have been or where some of the players have been in the past. You have people like Lunisgwyn and Bramble, as you mentioned, off of another Psistorm team. They were Psistorm Immortals in Season 12. They had a run all the way up to the B Southeast Finals, where they took a defeat 3-1 in Season 12. So a good team in that upper B range with those players, looking to add a couple more couple other players that I believe have some other good high-ranked experience. So a strong team here, for absolutely sure.
Yeah. On the other hand, one of the things that can be done on this map is this map has a couple of avenues to weird heroes. You could have some of your very gank-heavy and mobility-heavy heroes, something like a Tracer Genji, who can harangue the double soaker that you tend to see on this map. Tends to have a little more success than on some maps. We know that Track 6 likes to play Murky on this map. I don't think that's super likely, but it's in that same kind of vein of weird heroes. Medivh has actually been played on this map just to get like really aggressive rotations and being able to tower dive with the protected shield. So there's a lot of interesting things that you can do on this map, and I could see either of these teams looking to pull something like that out. I think I would think Midnight and Mummies would be maybe more likely to do something wild like that, but fingers crossed. I want to see something not in standard.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as well. Always big fans. Let's go ahead. Do you complete the predictions? I will take care of that. Boom, Psistorm Dragoons taking the win there. I'm all in on Midnight Mummy. Ooh, sorry to hear that, Koshlu.
Yeah, 4,700 points going to Key, though. Big better. Alright, we got a Nubarak getting banned out by a Midnight of Mummies and Hogger. Hogger did very well for Psistorm in the previous game, and in the previous draft they banned out a lot of tanks. So really wanting to limit the frontline options coming out from Psistorm. Junkrat is like just the meta DPS right now, and as well as going to get rid of the Stukov once again.
Yep, that's kind of what Junkrat's been. Brings an obscene amount of CC to the DPS slot, and it's just a good hero overall. And, you know, Johanna, also just a really good hero. Can't run like a solo auto attack composition now, now that Johanna's in the mix.
Gotta pick up the Lucio once again. Also, the members of Midnight of Mummies are saying, you can't play the same comp. We've taken your offlane, we've taken your tank. If you're gonna win, you're gonna have to at least play something else. And Sylvanas is something else.
Yep, another just solid DPS player. That is Senpai, who played the Kerosene last time. So, probably won't be seeing a double healer here. But always could do some trickiness to throw us off. And we do have Puckett picking up the Zool and Andrew picking up Rhaegar here. Very solid heroes overall on this map.
Yeah, Zool kind of being your premier double soak hero as far as just speed and pressure put on from it. Arguably maybe not quite as impactful in the team fights as something like a Leoric, but I mean, having a point-and-click route, even on a delay, is very strong. You can get a lot of value off of it. And having that fast rotation speed means often Zool will be able to be at a team fight faster than a different bruiser.
Yeah, one of the big reasons Zool is faster on the wave clear is because he spawns those skeletons, which could take more hits to dispatch. They don't get any bonuses from, or negative effects from being a minion, like a Leoric's Neil Peasants, for example, and might dodge some of the AoE just by, being more minions in an area.
Plus, they explode on death, so even when they die, they're getting value.
Yep. Muradin and Yrel here. Now, Yrel is not a particularly incredible soul laner or a dual soaker on this map, but she could suffice, I believe. So I'm curious if that's in the 4-man or one of the offlaners, since Bramble did have the offlane last time.
I don't think Zagara double soaks, but Zagara is crazy strong in the late game. Because she has 1.75% damage on roaches and hydralisks, which works out to just a crazy number of percent being done in the late game. Like, her late game power spike is ludicrous. But she's also really good at just existing in bot lane and de-pushing anything that Midnight and Mummies are going to want to do.
Yeah. Now, they do have... Midnight and Mummies do have Chromie and Vala, so both very impactful heroes as far as... you got the prediction going.
Did. I just remembered while you were talking.
Yeah. Both long-range heroes. Chromie good at, again, de-pushing in early game. Vala, very, very powerful in the late game.
Prepare yourself for battle, heroes.
Alrighty. Communism jokes in the chat aside, we have spawning on the left-hand side in the Cyan trunks. They are Psistorm Dragoons, with Bramble playing the Zagara, Lennisquin playing the Lucio once again, Chaos Pigeon on Muradin, Senpai playing the Sylvanas, and the Red Rook on the Yrel.
And on the right side of the map, in the orange trunks, we've got Midnight and Mummies with Shui playing the Vala, Huckett on Zool, Bricky on Johanna, Andrew on Rhaegar, and Boris Hose on the Chromie.
That's not how you say that, but you know
I had to
already.
do it once. I had to do it once.
That's fair enough. We have Q quest coming out from Chromie, auto attack quest coming out from Vala. That is your late game hyper carry build. Not a huge surprise to see here. Red Rook is going to get caught. He is not going to have their jump out available. It's going to get caught even, and that is going to be an obscenely early first kill. As we have the Sylv and Zagara cheese coming out through the bottom, already going to get a tower. Normally I would say a tower for a kill is a pretty good trade for the team getting the tower, but not when it's the double soak hero on Towers of Doom.
Yeah, that is a very good point there. A good amount of soak is going to be missed here, and I would actually agree with you in a lot of scenarios that the tower is actually worth, especially with how important the bot area is, but that's already a decent amount of soak.
So they're not going to miss really XP. They're going to have Sylvanas go ahead and soak it, but that means they're down a hero, and the members of Midnight of Mummies are playing aggressive to counter that. They know they're up bodies, so they can play a little more forward. I put the team names wrong for the prediction. I blame Ace. I just did the second prediction.
Did you put... What did you even do? Any fountain snipers versus whatever? Oh my goodness. Can't believe you do this to me.
I'm going to go ahead and delete and return points. Start a new prediction. I'm probably just... Ace, go ahead and set up that new prediction.
Alright, I got you.
My autofill is not filling very well right now.
No problem.
There's going to be a little bit of extra information because we've already got the 1 kill out and an XP lead for the members of Midnight of Mummies. But you know what? It's the most comebackable map. Quote Baja. So, anything can happen.
Yeah. Oh, Senpai doesn't get enough of a Haunting Wave, but is going to go ahead and make it out with 40 HP. Lunasquin going to be able to make that escape possible. Double globes for Midnight and Mummies going to keep them sustained throughout this laning phase here, as Zula and Yrel going to continue doing the soaking action. And if I tab over to the XP total, Zul about 1100 ahead right now.
I don't like Bricky just using health as a resource and stopping the minion wave from walking forward, but not actually killing it. I don't think it's going to lead to much, but it's a little small play. I would like to see some more creep being put out, Bramble, but that's okay.
There are no charges out. There's plenty of creep on this map for the... Look at this. Who are you wanting? Is Scarlet in here?
Yes.
There's one queen on the map. Shui's actually going to get taken out by an aggressive pair dive with Luzgwin and Senpai.
Yep,
Nice
and there goes
pick up
the
there, right?
shield. Bricky isn't going to be able to unstopple the rest of the way out of there. Chaos Pigeon is quite low. And I'm going to get some extra damage into Senpai. Just tons of damage being thrown out all over the place. But we did have the channel coming out from Bramble that is going to be 8 shots against Midnight and Mummies, 4 shots against Psistorm, but it's the first objective. It's almost always going to end up in that kind of a circumstance. And we have Bramble rotating into mid to help with that XP. As we established before, Urel not the world's greatest double soaker. Chaos Pigeon looking for Huckett, but not going to find it on Huckett.
Safe cover on the rotation there by Midnight and Mummies as both teams pick up level 7s at an identical time. We do have for Zagara the Bile Drop quest coming out, one of the hardest abilities to hit, but is still incredibly impactful once completed, as it increases that percent damage by about 33% because you get another Zerg unit.
Yeah, looking for a stack there, not going to find it. Going to find some decent damage, so Chaos Pigeon's going to have to start peeling for it. Yeah, using Haunting Wave to check a bush is a little bit scary when you have Zagara, who has basically infinite Banelings next to you.
Yep. What else do we have? Anything interesting? Still stacking full W quest here on, or W build so far for Zool, as both teams are still going to fight down here in the bottom lane. Bricky's taking a lot of damage, does have the D shield available as the next objective phase starts up.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and check hero damage just because I'm a little curious given how low Bricky has been for a lot of this game. Looks like slight advantage in favor of the blue team, but not by maybe as much as I would have guessed, although the Zagara is doing quite a bit more than the second highest on the side of Midnight and Mummies.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. Now Borschu's going to get caught out by Chaos Pigeon and Squad, and the dive is there. The Lucio-enabled dive is major here for Psistorm Dragoons. Chaos Pigeon going to go ahead and hop on out of there. I tell you what, their Lucio timed aggression is working out so well for them.
Wait, Scarlet's going back to try to qualify for GSL again? I know Raynor is, but I didn't think Scarlet was attempting in this season.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Hell yeah, it would. Shui is pretty far forward, but not going to have any abilities to actually put into. We have a very aggressive Dwarf Toss looking to find Shui. They're going to find him, but gives himself up for it instead. Slight advantage for Midnight and Mummies because of the level differential.
Yep, just a little bit. Level 10's picked up for Psistorm Dragoons now. Pretty expected ults across the board. Looking at Midnight and Mummies, we do see about the same so far. The only contested one, maybe Blessed Shield versus Falling Sword, and we do have Blessed Shield.
I don't know. I think Poison Nova not quite as good in a lot of cases as the Frost Mages, and Bloodlust I think is a really interesting pick here. It obviously helps the Vala DPS a ton, but that means they don't have a big save button, which could be very important for as aggressive as Bricky has been playing. Does going to make for the disengage off of the Mind Control. A huge Maw is going to stop a lot of the potential coming out from the Bloodlust, and Huckett and Bricky both very low. Bricky is going to get saved for now, and we actually have Zool going to go down first, and Red Rook looking to find Bricky. Muradin goes down as well. Andrew and Senpai both very low. Shui looking for damage. We did have Urel clean up that kill in bottom. Andrew very low, but is able to run away, and that is a 2-to-1 kill lead for Psistorm, but gosh, these fights are bloody.
Yeah, that was very close. Zool trying to sustain through with the Harvest Vitality, but doesn't, importantly, have the attack speed increase talent. I believe that's on the level 13 tier. I can check through that real fast. Yeah, that's a very important part of this W build, so he might be able to sustain those out later, but not quite yet.
We had Urel going to go ahead and get herself out of that route. Basically, exactly so she can get to soaking faster. And she does need every advantage she can in that avenue. Still only 4 stacks on the Zagara level 7. Can set it up for stacks off of her own heroic, but that's obviously a pretty long cooldown to just try and get some stacks.
Yeah, definitely long one. Fun little interaction. Here comes a Maw, actually, just straight into this. Is going to be aggressed on Shui. The Purge, rather, is going to come out. Now Andrew's target up focus. Bloodlust comes out in counter as the team taps up and goes back in, but the disengage from Lucio is too much. And yeah, Midnight and Mummies unable to find anything there.
I keep calling Bricky an aggressive tank, but Chaos Pigeon has spent what feels like 15% of this game under their opponents for having already used Dwarf Toss. And only been punished for it hard once, but he is playing quite far forward. They are up level 13, so they're looking to play forward again. Siltrate should be available, but there are 4 people in the bottom lane that's kind of hard to push in onto this, even with the full minion wave and Roachlings.
Interesting from Chromie, we do have the here and there to be a little bit more elusive with the dives that are coming out. So that's going to be a very interesting one. And hilariously synergizing with Bloodlust is the Bronze Talons on level 7.
Yep.
Oh, ping on to Shui.
Yeah, they're going to find the Stormbolt is going to get the stun off. The Unstoppable coming out just a little bit late. That's another stack for the Roach quest. But Shui is able to get out of there, and they have the rotation. It's a 5v5 in bottom lane. Senpai is very low, but no one's able to get the target onto him. Vala getting killed from the Devouring Maw damage, and Andrew and Huckett are very low. Bricky's still reasonably healthy, but is going to get knocked back. Health bar is very low on both sides, but we have the taps coming out on the Sylvanas. Bloodlust coming out. This is a very long and protracted team fight, and it looks like Midnight and Mummy's just not quite able to crack through, but Rook is gonna fall.
That's the first kill as he tried to jump onto Boris shoes. I tell you, the aggression timing here from Psistorm Dragoons is very good. They're picking a target, and as soon as they're out of position, they are going for it. Mind Control goes out onto Andrew. Now Chaos Pigeon going to go ahead and land a double Stormbolt there, and Andrew getting very low on mana. Midnight and Mummies need to leave this before they get absolutely smoked on the comeback, although they do have their 5th coming in at full health and mana, so maybe they can stick in here just a little bit longer.
I think that they can. They still have Blessed Shield available, so they can actually find a really strong engage onto somebody. Not going to find off of the Zool route, but does have it as a tool in their back pocket. They're able to disengage the rest of the way, and we're able to finally get that channeled over.
Nice job there. This game's been a lot closer, a lot more back and forth in these fights. As compositions kind of line up a little bit better with each other. So this has been a good one so far, and it's going to get more exciting as the late game develops, as the Vala and Johanna come online, but also the Zagara comes online.
Yeah, this has felt like a really bloody game as the teams are just fighting brutal fights all the time. It's only 10 kills, though. That's not an incredible number for this phase in the game. But there's just been an incredible amount of fights. Oh, that's a huge Devouring Maw. That's going to be a really bad spot for Shui and for Boris Hose, as they are going to both get taken out. Huckett comes in with a massive rotation, and a lot of damage coming from the Poison Nova. That is going to find the kill onto Lucio, and they are looking to try and even it up here, but Red Rook is here now to make it even.
Oh, and that smack from the Urel, I believe, minus 20 armor did a ton of damage to the Johanna. Now Andrew in No Dog's Land is going to be hit by the Stormbolt and taken out. Good pickups on the 16 for Psistorm Dragoons, changing that fight.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Midnight and Mummies, the objective wasn't spawning soon enough for Huckett to maybe try and snipe out one of these channels. So that is looking like 3 channels at 5 shots, likely going to go over to the side of Psistorm.
Okay, let's take a look.
We can watch the color.
They got 5. There's 10. But they're not going to get the 15 as Borshoes is able to channel that objective and mitigate the damage just a little bit. So 10 shots in favor of Psistorm Dragoons, 3 for Midnight and Mummies, as this continues to develop in the bottom lane now with the blue Bell Keep down here.
Yeah, we had a pretty big engagement attempt coming out from Bricky. Did end up using the Blessed Shield as kind of a disengage, trying to flip this fort or maybe find a kill which would let them take the fort back over. 20 seconds until this bottom objective is alive. We got Bramble coming in for another raw engagement, but not going to find it this time, and they're going to start paying dearly for that attempt.
Yep, Lunisquin goes down in the back. Senpai got a bar full of poison damage and is going to go down with no healer available. This whole team stretching over the course of an entire screen as Bricky's trying to find more to happen, but that is finally something to go well here in this early part of the late game for Midnight of Mummies.
So, two things happened relatively recently. One, Zagara's percent damage came online. Two, Zagara finished her level 7, so her ability to chunk through a tank's health bar has gone up exponentially. So you can see Bricky is just taking, like, pretty much the whole game has been using health as a resource to buy space, but the amount of health he's going to have to pay for that space has gone up substantially. You can see that just there. Just kind of existing in the lane and got dropped to a third.
Now, it's not one-sided, though. Vala's Manticore is online here, and Chromie's going to be able to pick up the Pierce right now. So both tanks going to be an endangered species if they don't be careful with their aggression levels, knowing the level of offensive power has increased.
We have all the heroes online, and Senpai isn't going to get punished for making the rotation through the well. At least not until Huckett is going to find the route, but the Unstoppable with the Haunting Wave is going to come through. Two caught in the maw, and that is looking like a lot of damage going out, but no kills going yet. Borishu's quite low, getting chased down by Yrel, is able to here and there back to somewhere, and there comes the counter-engaged Bloodlust to really try to turn this team fight around for them.
Yeah, and with the point-click route of Zool, they do find it onto the Muradin. Andrew, though, in a lot of trouble, does go ahead and pop to roaches that they barely could see hiding in that bush there. Now a 4v4 as this fight continues to develop. Shui goes ahead and channels the mid objective, while Red Rook's going to go ahead and take a cleanse for that.
Ooh, Bricky.
Root cooldown.
Bricky with the last couple frames of the Unstoppable is going to eat that Mind Control. Health bars looking like they favor the side of Psistorm, but taps are coming in for Midnight of Mummies. They're really looking to get this objective. They don't want to trade away another set of core shots at this point in the game. Their power spike has come online, but so has their opponents, but their health is just bleeding out.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot of health with the Rhaegar being the one down for the side of Midnight of Mummies. They really can't continue into this. So Shui's going to go ahead, take it hammered. The Blessed Shield comes out. Senpai goes in aggressively, and with the Windrunner is able to get on out. Picks up the kill on Shui, and that gives them level 20 and the bottom altar dropping Midnight of Mummies down to just 10 HP.
I've seen Senpai Unstoppable multiple sets of CC, which has definitely kept them out of the Hall of Storms on multiple occasions. You really like to see that kind of play coming out from your DPS players. And not getting those kills onto Senpai has meant really bad things for the members of Midnight of Mummies coming in to try to defend this keep. And they are going to make a successful keep defense down level 20 for the time being.
Yep, Senpai hailing from the Psistorm Banshees team, which we may remember from last season in the East. Lots of B-East players playing in the A East this season. Good to see everybody again as we kick off this level 20 phase now. This is huge, though. We've got the Gladiator's War Shout from the Rhaegar, and of course Farflight Quiver for the Vala, so really capable here.
On the other hand, we also have basic ability Mind Control getting used there. Is going to get blocked by Bricky's trait. Bricky going to get snagged out of the Unstoppable by the Devouring Maw. Bramble, though, had to step up very far to do that, and they're going to go down. Upgraded Bloodlust going to come out, even though you just said the name. Lasts for an eternity. Going to drop the Anderhall Anomaly to just soak a couple tower shots. They're going to be able to counter-rip this bottom port very fast as their opponents are running for the hills.
I'm wondering if they're going to try and make a play on the boss here, knowing or expecting the team to go to bottom altar. They seem to be circling the area, but are unsure as they don't see them on the map, and I think that's a very safe call there.
Yeah, Mom saw that rotation come out, and they weren't having any of it. They know that they can basically take anything on the map that they want right now. Another Banshee's going to come and keep Senpai in safe, but that's a really big blessed shield. Not going to lead to any kills, but I think it gets enough damage done that their opponents can't try to threaten boss very easily as they send Chromie down to start getting that channel.
Yeah, I'm surprised we do have Blinding the Light as opposed to the Blessed Shield upgrade, which is an incredible talent that increases the stun duration.
And number of targets.
Yeah. I believe the total stun duration for the base level, the level 10 is 3 seconds. The 20 version is 10 seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah, Radiating Faith. I got that one unlocked. Chaos Pigeon taking some damage, but Senpai is going to get left high and dry, and they're going to get taken out. But big Devouring Maw, though. This could turn around in a big way.
Yeah, looks like good use of the Blinded by the Light, though. Helped absorb a lot of the damage, and of course Rhaegar able to chain heal that group of 3, so nice job there. 3 go in. 13-10 now. This game is close, Ektar.
Yeah, this is anybody's ball game at this point. We have maybe a couple members of Mom rotating towards mid. You're going to opt not to do that. Really want to hold on to this bottom fort. The next objective is in between mid and bottom, so this is going to be a really important place to defend if Mom are able to do so, as well as camp coming up now. They want to try to take this, but it gives an opportunity for Psistorm to try to get this fort snipe.
Yep, there is that opportunity. Bricky's going to go ahead, have to pop the Unstoppable. Drops the... Was that the Blessed Shield? It was. But it was
big high five
out. Yep, Mixing Fire gives a lot of uptime on that. And tried at the very end of it, but again, a couple lingering frames. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, but I think that probably Psistorm are going to be able to snipe out this keep by the time that the objective gets channeled either way. Going to go ahead and close Talons. We've seen him at this point. And just gives us more screen real estate as Lucio gets choked out pretty hard, but the Red Rook is in way before Zool is.
Ooh, Andrew takes a lot of damage as well, and this 5v4 Maw lands on nobody. So that is not going to go for any major damage. Shui pumping out a ton of damage here with the Farflight Quiver, and now that the tower is converted over, that is going to be it. But Midnight and Mummies take their first core health lead of the game, now 10-9, as Gladiator's Warshout comes out. Chaos Pigeon going to try and do as much disruption as possible. Does receive the high 5 and gets the Avatar. Red Rook goes in from behind, but ends up taking a ton of damage from the Poison Nova and the Farflight Quiver. Lucio goes down trying to save everybody, and now that is all but the cleanup here. Bramble going to go down as well, and that's huge for Midnight and Mummies.
Bramble is barely going to survive, but that is, again, still huge. We did have the mind control attempt coming up, but that is the keep getting flipped once again, and with 2 heroes down, I wouldn't be surprised if Midnight and Mummies are able to flip mid-keep as well as take that camp.
Yeah, that would be absolutely massive. Zagara, by the way, living by the Hydralisk Transfusion talent on 13, dropping that ability off and being able to get the healing provided, which is pretty wild. Pocket's in a little bit of a spot here. But is going to be able to pop the Bona armor and be able to escape.
Yeah, but the rest of the team is rotating in for the defense. Mind control is going to land onto Johanna, but that just kind of puts Johanna where she wants to be anyway. Going to start taking these tower shots, but that's what the Underhall Anomaly is for now, and that is going to be another keep being flipped over. This does mean only 2 people are on the defense. Bramble coming for another highly aggressive Devouring Maw, but finds it onto nobody. Silvertrate is going to put a lot of threat onto here, but I don't know if they can flip it over. It's going to be close.
Yeah, it is going to be close. Members now reviving for the Psistorm Dragoons. They've done very well rotating between mid and bot through this whole thing, but the pressure mounting is just so large. Nice Blessed Shield into Rain of Vengeance damage, doing a lot. There's Mind Control on Andrew, going to go for a little bit, but the damage just isn't there right now for Psistorm Dragoons as they're getting chunked out in this fight. Garel channels it over, but it's only 2 damage. Meanwhile, Zool being chased off in the top as the 4-4 continues in the bottom.
Yeah, Huck is going to pop his ult just to get some damage into the Red Rook, but I think that Yrel just kind of wins this fight over time. But the rest of the members are rotating up now. Zagara is looking like they're going to take the keep back over, but it will just barely be in time. Only 4 shots going over in favor of Midnight of Mummies, but that is going to still be a pretty good spot. And Boss is a win con.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that
Boss
they got
check.
bottom back.
Bot lane, they took that keep, but now they have only Yrel on the defense here, and it's going to be only Yrel for a while. huge heroic coming out from her is going to buy a lot of time, but she's going to go down. Lucio gets on the point in time, but he's going to be the next to fall. Chaos Pigeon's on the point, but this is just huge trickle death. The Maw! Boris Shoes is going to get on the point, but isn't going to flip it, and that is a crazy way to end game number 2.
Oh my goodness, if Psistorm Dragoons noticed that instead of taking bottom 4th, they might have been able to take that. Their attempt there was valiant, but unfortunately not enough. Well, fortunately for us, because we get a game number 3.
We sure do, and that was a... I don't use this term often or lightly, but that was a slobber knocker.
A real barn burner of a game, you would say.
I wouldn't. I've never used that term in my life because I'm not from the South.
It's not what I would use it for anyway.
Checking out the numbers, my goodness, there's some heal diff coming out from Andrew there. 122k to 76k. I would expect Rhaegar generally to out-heal Lucio, but that's a lot. That's like starting to matter numbers of difference. Zagara, with that late game scaling, is going to topple over Chromie, and by proxy Vala, only at 78k, which isn't a small amount of damage, but compared to 119k or even the 97k on their team, just not quite getting enough, I think, out of the Vala they were looking for, but they still took the game in the end.
Yeah, I think a lot of the value came in very specific auto attacks in the late game. I think Vala was very specifically doing
Manticore
very
is
little
very
damage.
impactful. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think a lot of that damage was very, very late, but also just having piercing sands is kind of insane.
It's great. Siege damage. Actually, Urel keeping up better than I would have guessed. Still losing, for sure, but, only being down 35k.
Only down 35k or 3.5k?
35k, but that's out of in excess of 200k for both of them.
Siege damage. I thought you meant XP.
No,
you meant XP, and I was like...
Down 6k in XP, which is kind of about what I would expect for Urel and Tazul, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So, waiting on game number 3 now. It's up to Psistorm Dragoons whether they want first pick or map pick. And we'll find out in just a short bit.
Yeah, and although I would say the first game was relatively one-sided, I'm very glad that the series as a whole is not.
Yeah, that was that's a great game to start the season on. That was a very close one, back and forth, lots of fun between the teams. So we're looking good. We're looking good early. Hoping that this foray into A is both a little bit more successful, but just as even as our last time we were in Div A, because that was one of the closest divisions we've ever been a part of.
Yeah. As much as it sucks and it feels bad to be the worst team in your division, and we were the last time we were in Div A, we were also the best performing worst team in any division. I think we won like 7 or 8 maps.
There's platform.
Oh my god, I'm thinking of Lurk Patrol.
Hello?
You're right. Sorry. No, platform. Now you make me angry, Ace.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know that, but I'm trying to remind you how close that whole season was in terms of how many teams went 2-1 and how close the playoff race was, where I think a team could land between 10th and 3rd on a week of final results. It was crazy.
Anyone wondering why I might be mad remembering platform, we as a team went positive in match wins, but because all of our wins were 2-1s and all of our losses were 0-2s, our points didn't get us into playoffs over teams who had a losing match record.
By a lot.
I think they lost 2 more net matches than we did. It makes me angry. I had wanted previously, before this ever happened, I thought that the extra point for winning a match 2-0 was too much. And that happened afterwards, and I'm even further settled in that conviction because of it. Anywho, now that my blood pressure's up 20 points, we're going to Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 3.
Yeah, another team fight heavy map. This was picked by Psistorm Dragoons, so they opted for the map pick here. Will we see a back to a double healer style? I don't expect it on this map. But, we'll just have to see. I'm curious how both teams go about it. Johanna been clearly the most important hero in these drafts, though, as she's been first picked both times. I wonder if she'll see a ban this game.
Also, his 100% win rate.
True.
Johanna, 100% win rate in A East, confirmed. OP. Blizzard.
Crazy. Get Microsoft on this quick.
Now that is some highly refined copium.
Look, I import copium from some of the finest sources around. So, now I do want to point out, I'm checking some roster. We do have Crispy in instead of, I believe, Bramble's here.
Bramble's here.
Redbrook.
Yeah, I wonder then if there's... Generally, I assume that means they have a specific, hero or compositional style that they're looking for by bringing in a different player. It could just be that they want to get their whole team roster to get games played, but the 615 game Zeratul makes me think otherwise.
I was about to say, clicked open that hero's profile, 1,745 Zeratul games played.
You're right, I only have ranked games. 615 between Storm, Hero, and Team League.
Oh boy.
Which is actually just all Storm League, no Hero or Team League. But yeah.
Take a look.
I'm torn. I want to see the one-trick Zeratul, but at the same time, come on, you gotta notice that if you're Mom and ban it, right?
I mean, if I'm Master Midnight of Mummies, gonna keep calling him the same acronym, I'm gonna be upset.
They still have the same team ticker.
I know they do. I mean, you have to ban Johanna Zeratul here, right?
Yes.
Like, you can't let Johanna go through on this map. And you can't let the one-trick Zeratul get a Zeratul. Right?
To be fair, their first pick, they don't have to ban Joe.
Oh, that is true. I forgot. I was kind of expecting them to be just the first pick to flop back, but instead that does make a lot of sense. Okay. Yeah.
So, I suppose the real question is, do Psistorm ban Joe? They haven't shown a proclivity to do so. They've banned Junkrat twice, and they've banned Stukov twice already before this. I think this is a pretty decent map for Stukov. So, I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see them ban it again, but that does give their opponents Johanna. How is Johanna playing against Zeratul?
You don't get to do a whole lot as a Johanna. Let's see. Oh no.
Monka S. Maybe they ban it for the third ban.
Hopium.
Maybe they didn't click the profile to see. It's possible they just didn't even notice that there was a player swap. We've seen that in the past with other teams. Maybe that's what's going on here.
Yeah, very possible, but this is going to be something if this goes through. Now, do they pick it up in the 1-2? I mean, it's clearly important to them. Brightwing is a good first pickup, although, again, Johanna.
Hakuna Johanna. I was going to suggest I would think like the biggest balls play in the world would be to take Zeratul first pick.
That's too much. Too much.
Can you actually assert more dominance than that, though?
I mean, you can if you win with it. But that's kind of the implied...
Alright, so Crispy has picked Blaze. I think that's a smokescreen.
It's gotta be, right? There's
Gotta
no
be.
way. We've got Tychus and Leo taken. So Johanna has made it to mid-bands somehow. This draft befuddles me. I expected it to go one way, and it has not.
It has gone very sideways. There's the Johanna ban we expected 4 bans ago.
They had the pick, though.
You're not wrong. It could be they want Blaze for their main tank, which makes sense if they're gonna pick a Void Prison.
Yeah, it does. Do I see a single game of Blaze on Crispy's Heroes profile? Spin faster, you Chrome tab. Spin! Blaze, 12 games. Zeratul, 1700. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. The last time Blaze was played was...
If this isn't a last pick,
3 months
Zeratul
ago.
and a Switch,
Yeah.
I will be appalled.
Yep. I mean, it's open now. It's open from start to finish. The Varian was the ban. El No Sabe. There's the Nazebo to add the late game. There's the Zool.
What is this comp?
Funky. That's funky is what it is.
And yet I still expect to see Zeratul slot in there.
I mean...
I don't even hate it is the crazy part. Like,
No.
Nazebo Stukov are kind of crazy follow-up to a Void Prison. Zool exists in the bottom lane and does whatever he does.
So what's the plan for Midnight of Mummies? They're going to round this draft out with a tank. That's May. And Tassadar, who can have spell armor on standing still. It's a Medivh. Oh my god. What is this? What?
Alright, I need Psistorm Dragoons to win this game so they can be here for the interview, because I have so many questions.
I do too. Oh my goodness. You remember when we did best of twos and you could just pick whoever did the interview in a draw?
No,
That's why I wish I could...
I wasn't casting back then.
I wish I... That would be a wild time. This is a composition. This is a wild game.
I'm trying to rein it back in. I actually really like Medivh, for the same reason I like Medivh on towers, and you can do these funky aggressive rotations and stuff. It's just very strange now that all of it is said and done. I mean, Medivh kind of functions like a Zeratul. I don't know. I'm grasping real hard here, Ace.
Maybe with the R button, and that's about it.
Yeah. Alright, spawning on the left-hand side in the Cyan, bringing in their one-trick Zeratul, playing Blaze. Bramble is playing the Nazebo, Chaos Pigeon on Zool. Lunsquin is playing Medivh, and Senpai changing roles as well onto the Stukov.
Alright, and on the right side of the map, in the orange trunks, trying to bring it back, it is Midnight of Mummies. They've got Andrew on the Janitor Leoric, Shui on the Tassadar, Puckett on Tychus, Bricky on May, and Boris Shoes on the Brightwing.
Alright, checking the level 1 talents. I think this is mostly what I would expect, although the dash is a bit of an oddball pick.
Yeah, that's the least common level 1, but I can believe it if you have a reason to have the extra range on the dash. Now, what that is, I'm not entirely sure, this comp, but I'm also not thinking about it too hard.
Alright, so, Nara number 2 in the chat called it correctly. It is main tank Zool with Blaze in the bottom lane. This is a big macro advantage in favor of Mom, because they have just incredible amounts of wave clear between Tassadar and, to a lesser extent, Tychus, especially if he keeps knocking the minions out of the Psistorm. But this means they can clear lanes and make aggressive rotations happen where they try to find damage or picks onto their heroes. Obviously, Medivh forestalls that to a degree. Trading up pretty much even there, but a big heal is going to come out and keep Huckett nice and topped up. Although, yeah. I think I would have preferred if they used that macro advantage to then go and take their Bruiser camp nice and quick.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they miss him soak in mid. Psistorm Dragoons did during that defensive scuffle. So, not exactly what they wanted to see. Picked up some quarter globes as opposed to full globes.
Yeah, very small XP lead coming out in favor of Midnight of Mummies. But honestly, probably not anything that's going to be too impactful. I do actually really like the Tank Zool with Stuka follow-up. It's like a single target buried alive. It's doing really a lot of damage, but the Zool is able to get on out of there.
Yep, 140 health is able to commit an escape, and now I'd like to see the macro engine of Midnight of Mummies pop up. Either grab some siege damage or grab some bruisers as they work towards their turn-in. They are currently 3 gems ahead. Make that none, but still ahead in rotations as they do go ahead and start up that bruiser cannon.
Yep, and with Shui on, I feel like his signature hero, just bringing a ton of siege damage, really can afford to just have only one person doing siege damage for the time being. They'll be able to get almost all of the XP from mid lane and not lose anything top lane, and even force their opponents to lose out on a little bit.
Yep, it is full Q build from Tassadar, including the induction talent, so we will have just base more move speed. I'm curious if that applies to also well mounted, but I can't imagine it does.
I have to imagine it does not apply while mounted.
It'd be wild.
Gonna click on him as soon as I see him mount up again, though, just to verify. I actually don't get that screen in the observer interface.
I already
about
checked
that.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah. A little bit of a scuffle coming on in mid lane. The superior wave clear from Midnight of Mummies is going to allow them to clear their opponent's bruiser much more quickly. Looking for a little bit of engagement on the Senpai. Just going to find some damage in stacks. Andrew is going to put some damage into Crispy. Crispy kind of low is going to get the jet prop out. And is able to pop the stim pack for the extra move speed to get away.
Yep, the shield was used onto Senpai, and then the focus got turned onto the Blaze in the back. Now Shui's going to take a little bit of a route. Shouldn't be any issues for. She's just going to go ahead and drop the activated Soothing Mist, and does, of course, have the Magic Spit to reduce the cooldown. Obviously, a very powerful ability.
You say, of course. I don't think that's actually the standard talent, but I think it's very good in this composition because of the obvious wind-up nature of the engagements coming out from Psistorm.
Now, I've been told, or have heard, or don't remember where, that basically the only way to play Brightwing in coordinated high level is to take the Magic Spit talent, usually with the heal as well on 7, but instead we do have the Peekaboo, which I think is fine as well.
I have mixed feelings about it. In either case, Brightwing is going to be using her 7 to save the engaged target. This one puts Brightwing right in the dangers a little bit more often. But they're both very
that
good.
feels scary, yeah.
The big wall is going to keep Bramble and Chaos Pigeon from walking back, but a nice counter engage between the zombie wall and the Lurking Arm is going to stop that from coming in any further. We do have Andrew coming in here to make this into a 5v4, but able to retreat nicely behind the wall. Not looking like there's going to be too much value found here from Mom.
Yep, top Webweaver dropping down very low, and is going to be taking out Shui actually quite low. Everybody quite low. The full retreat is on now. Andrew's there, just available to peel if necessary. And both teams working their way halfway up level 8 towards level 10, with no clear advantage gained for either side, although we do have top wall almost dead, mid wall taking a lot of damage as well, and bottom being half dead as well.
Like I said, this is very clearly a practice comp coming out from Psistorm. Bramble is constantly there to follow up on Chaos Pigeon. It doesn't always lead to something, but it has basically always gone the way you'd want it to, right in the right spot, even if it gets cleansed out or whatever. Just not quite finding a kill on it, but it's still working.
Ricky takes a lot of damage, drops down to about 500 health before making it out. Now Tychus very low, does get the extra range dash to get out. That were 3 different heroes got taken down very low. Midnight of Mummies playing with fire there, but they are going to go ahead, tap up, and keep on keeping on, as now Chaos Pigeon's going to have to retreat, and the tank of Psistorm Dragoons is down for now, so a little bit of respite before level 10 for both teams.
Yeah, and there's no turn-in available for Midnight of Mummies, so it's relatively safe for Zool to back in this circumstance, but it does mean that Midnight of Mummies are going to be able to just exist forward on the map like they've been wont to do this whole game so far.
If they're clearing these lanes very far forward, Chaos Pigeon does go ahead and grab the turn-in. Ooh, and it does call down the blue web weavers. Interesting old alert, we do have March of the Black King from Leoric, Black Hole from the Tassadar, and Snowball from May. All, I would say, the less popular of ults.
Also Emerald Wind.
Also E-Wind, yeah. And Ravenous Spirit. And Skeletal Mages, so both different
I think
tools
Ravenous
as well.
Spirit is expected here. It's not necessarily the most
so.
common, but I think it's what I would have expected to see.
Yeah, I think it's notable, though.
Yeah.
As opposed to something like Leyline, which is entirely unnotable.
Yeah, mid-web weaver getting cleared out very quickly. We do have the Odin getting called down, only hitting one with the Leyline. That is going to be Ricky. The Lurking Arm looks like it got interrupted, and not going to find anything. Chaos Pigeon is going to get stunned out and thrown way deep into the fort. He will fall for that. Bramble's getting some damage, but is actually going to get the kill onto Brightwing, and not quite Andrew.
Wow.
Sub
down to about
hit points there.
Yeah, that was very, very low. Senpai now going to go escape with low triple digits of HP. These teams are just fighting every health point. All of these games so far have mattered so very close. It's been really enjoyable to watch, and we've still got a lot to go. Andrew's going to go ahead and clean up bottom lane and now turn in available for Midnight of Mummies, but not quite yet for Psistorm Dragoons.
Yeah, and I think that very likely whoever gets the next full turn-in is going to win the game. It's not guaranteed, but it's just going to put them into such a strong advantage just on tempo that it could be very difficult for the other team to come back from that.
Very possible. I don't think it'll be quite that much. And as seen these happen, Leo drops off a bunch at the Spider Bank and goes ahead, turns it in, and here comes that Webweaver phase. Now we do have Andrew poking to try and interrupt that, but does not happen. Just grabs a little bit of attention as the Bruisers are picked up to help de-push the mid lane.
Yeah, but that means that there's only Bramble and Lungswin on the defense in the top lane, not their best clearers. So putting some pressure into that top fort. It's already pretty low. Rather, the wall is missing. Unfortunate timing from the Testar. Doesn't get to combo off of his own heroic as he did get caught in the ley line. Little bit of a, looks like, misplaced portal, and that is going to be an, what is that, Arcane Flux? Arcane Rift reset.
Arcane Rift.
It used to have Flux in it, didn't it?
The talent was called Master's Touch. May gets absolutely obliterated with the Root plus Silence Pool plus Zombie Wall combo. Andrew's now going to Spooky Walk in, drop the, I forgot he doesn't have Entomb. That's going to be the end of that. But with all the extra minions and everything, mid-fort goes down. Crispy used Jet Prop already. He's actually in a huge amount of trouble. And does go down there. That's a lot of gems there that Bramble is going to go ahead and pick up.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be super surprised if the members of Mom were able to go down and rotate in to take bottom fort as well. The Medivh engage did come in, but they weren't able to find purchase on it. They still have health and numbers on the side of Midnight of Mummies. They're just going to send Andrew down there and then take their own Bruiser camp, but being up 2 forts is a pretty big deal at this point in the game. Bramble looking for that turn-in is not going to find it and is going to get a big stun as well.
Yeah, this route into Lurking Arm with the Zombie Wall to keep them in the Lurking Arm is quite effective at causing problems, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Borschu's having trouble with it later if a teleport goes out and ends up costing Brightwing her positioning and lands in Silence Puddle.
Yeah, and a zombie wall in a lot of cases. Big engage coming out from Bricky. Isn't going to find any stuns, but is going to find the stun off of the Snowball Cannon. There's a good portal there, and there you see the E-Wind value. Going to knock Senpai and Chaos Pigeon away from that portal. Crispy's very low, Chaos Pigeon's low, but Borishu's the first to fall. Andrew's going to fall next. Chaos Pigeon might get traded out for it, but Oh man, Bricky's low, Shui is low. That was a great team turn from the side of Psistorm Dragoons.
Yeah, and they're not done yet. They're going to try and find the bonus kill onto Shui. Bricky going to go ahead and escape with the Blizzard. Ooh, close. Nice try there from Crispy. So with that, Psistorm Dragoons going to grab this big turn-in while members of Midnight and Mummies are down for now. So that's going to be a big chance for them to get damage in with the level 16s.
Yeah, and because they were able to kind of clear the lanes before this objective comes out, they don't have to spend a lot of time clearing the lanes or pushing the lanes forward to get the Web Weaver up there. The Web Weavers are already pretty far forward, which was my big concern if, as the team that was going to get the next objective second, that their lanes would be pushed out too far in their favor, or against them, rather.
Yep. Bricky goes in, tries to make some things happen, but level 16 here with the Temporal Flux is going to cause a lot of problems. Crispy, with the Lurking Arm and the setup, is going to do a lot of damage. Find 2 kills quickly. Shui with Black Hole does land for 3, but this kill composition with the follow-up CC is coming online. Bricky's going to pop the Ice Block to try and escape, and the icing will allow him to do that.
Yeah,
Portal over the wall to try and
in
get
a compromised spot. They're gonna pop the Annihilating to the Ravenous Spirit. Gonna get a kill onto one. Bricky will be able to icing out. Chaos Pigeon in No Man's Land is gonna get a little bit of save time. There isn't a portal to get him out quite yet.
This is so goofy right here. Chaos Pigeon is going to go ahead and make the way out, and while all that was happening, Ricky and Andrew unable to respond in the bottom lane, and Burst Deep will be taken out here for Psistorm Dragoons, so they are at a great advantage. 2 forts in the bottom lane to none for Midnight and Mummy, so that's going to be heavily pushed for the rest of the game until at least that bottom fort goes down.
Yeah, and they were able to fully make up the difference in damage in the other 2 lanes as well, so it is just coming up Millhouse in favor of Psistorm Dragoons, even going to take their camp, take the bottom camp as well. We do have boss scouted up by Bricky, but they're certainly not in a position to take it, just making sure their opponents weren't trying to. And we are only 2 off. Only 2 off for a turn-in for Midnight and Mummies. This could be what they need to get back in the game. But it's a very even point in the game right now.
Bricky and Crispy both in a really weird spot right now. Crispy went ahead and missed a jet prop while Bricky is in there on low HP. Now the depart calls are called. Shui gonna be taking a lot of damage, is gonna be able to escape, but now the portal gonna cause a lot of problems. Emerald Wind just now coming up to maybe force a disengage, and it does. So again, real scrappy fights, but with the mercenary camps pushing, Midnight and Mummies are going to have to clear out the map, and with that, Psistorm Dragoons looking towards boss.
Yes, they are, and I think if you're Midnight and Mummies, they're making the assessment, we can defend this. We can't try to all in on the defense of actually stopping them from taking the boss. We have to just absorb the boss that they are going to get guaranteed. And with that jet prop, they might not be correct in that assessment, as Shui is going to go down to the Ravenous Spirit. Huckett, Bricky, and Boris Shoes should be able to disengage, but Tassadar is a big portion of their boss clear.
An absolutely massive portion of it, with that static charge and beam alignment, would have the very quick, very fast Qs, but instead is going to be down for this entire defense, and I think that almost guarantees the death of this keep.
Yeah, and level 20s are going to be coming online pretty soon for the members of Psistorm Dragoons, so they aren't posturing like they're looking to end, but they could threaten to if the 20 comes in soon enough.
Or if they grab a pick, they're very close to being in a spot where they could. Bunker comes out from the Blaze to go ahead and create that safe zone. But similar to Game 1, I don't think they'll be looking to finish with this boss, and they indeed go ahead and back off, grab their 20s, and look towards a turn-in, which they're very short, or just barely short to once they pick up a couple of these waves.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple of waves for them to push out to actually get it, which could give their opponents time to get their own level 20s, and they already have a turn-in just as soon as they're able to step out evenly on the map. Bricky just kind of blizzard checking the camp here. They are actually going to look like they're going to want to take it. I don't think this has been quite sniffed out by Psistorm. Though I could see them making a fight on this if they wanted to.
All right, level 20's inbound. We've got Vile Infection for the Nazebo, albeit one wave away from being completed. Leyline Seal comes out with the Medivh Cheats. Is going to land for 3, 1, then 2, so it's going to be a little bit separated, but Shui gets picked off again. The immobility of Tassadar. There's a Snowball Cannon for 4. That could have been massive if the team was able to follow up, but instead just a good disengaged Snowball. And now, God, pressure continues to mount against Midnight Mummies.
Vile Infection finished up just before that Ravenous Spirit, so it had that full damage empowerment, just crushing into the backline, stopping the Brightwing and the Tychus from stepping up and really contributing anything to that team fight. I think that they are lucky to have only traded out 1 kill there.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree here. But now looking at 20, what do we have? We've got a lot of, actually, 5 upgraded ults here, and I don't know if any of them are massively impactful for saving against what Psistorm Dragoons has, other than the intensive win, sorry.
I don't even know if that matters.
I don't know.
Popping it early enough to stop the jet prop is huge. It has what feels like a month of startup on that ability, so getting it out early is super important. Well done there, but it doesn't really stop Psistorm from stepping up and starting to get damage in this keep. Their Web Weavers are coming down. One of them is going to go almost straight to core, and they only have 1 keep as a stronghold for defense before having to make a defense on the core.
Yeah, wave clear has to be put in very quickly. Fights cannot go slowly here. If you're Midnight Mummies, it has to be decisive, either wave clear or team fight. There can be no error here. Final keep goes down as the Web Weavers push in towards core.
Oh, that's a big Medivh Cheats. It's going to find 3, and that's a Lurking Arm going to find a lot of damage, and the Silence in the Brightwing stops 2 of them from doing anything. 2 heroes going down. The upgraded Snowball Cannon is going to push Medivh in farther, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as all 3 Web Weavers and 5 heroes are putting damage into the core, and that is going to be the 2-1 victory for Psistorm Dragoons.
That game was nasty. Once we got out of the laning phase and got into the Medivh presses R phase, that just got nasty. I mean,
as a Division A East player myself, I'm glad I saw this game.
Me too. Me too. Good cast, Ektar. Good cast.
Yeah, well scouted, Ace.
Well done. First, I always want to bring a bunch of fun A East matches to everybody, and we'll do plenty of other divisions, but always like to build that little repertoire of games inside the division. So this was a very, very good one to start the season on, though.
Checking out the numbers after the game, Nazebo topping the charts. Given how little time they spent at level 20, that's a bit of a surprise, but with as much consistent setup as they have with the tank Zool, being able to get those slow and DOT-style abilities from Nazebo to actually connect and deal damage was very impactful for them. Honestly, though, the tank Zool was not something I've seen for a long time, and it worked out very well.
Yeah, the Stukov Silence on top of it, as well as the Nazebo Zombie Wall, was particularly effective in a way that I was not anticipating. So really well done by Psistorm Dragoons. That was a series of very well put together compositions and games that any team in A East might have to give consideration to in upcoming weeks. On unrelated notes, when do we play Psistorm Dragoons?
I am unsure. I'm going to hop over to Lobby 2, see if we can't entice one of those Dragoons into an interview.
So,
And now we wait.
okay, it's a flex.
Oh, yeah, it is our flex match, huh?
All right, welcome Chaos Pigeon, and congrats on your 2-1 victory.
Thanks.
I was just pulling up the other 2 NGS matches that started at the same time as this one to see where we matched up as far as completion time, it looks like either second or third, as Mongoose is just finishing up a cast as well. I think probably we went the longest, though. So, congratulations on so far the longest match of Season 14.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go to Game 3.
It's true. And honestly, what a Game 3 it was.
Yeah. Honestly, it went a lot better than I was expecting. Like, we've been trying it out a bit, but like 50-50 on whether or not it works out. So.
Alrighty, so map number 1, you had Battlefield of Eternity as picked by your opponents, and you went with the double healer comp. Is that something that you like to do on that map, or was that an adjustment based on what the opponents picked?
That was kind of just a last-minute pick. Like, he was thinking between Kerosene and something else. I don't remember right now, but it's just like, go Kerosene, we'll make it work. I don't think they can kill us, and yeah, we had enough damage and survived throughout the fights.
Yeah, you were able to take a very early fight over the bottom camp, and you kind of just stayed ahead for the entire rest of the game after that.
I have no clue how we won that fight, honestly. Like, it was 4v3 the entire time. They just backed off and gave it to us.
How you won that team fight is because they put abilities into the camp, so they didn't have as many abilities to put into your team members.
Mm. Yeah. So, I feel like they had a better chance at it, but if they didn't want to take it, or if they didn't think they had enough to actually kill us, because we only got Johanna, I believe it. No, I was on Joe. We only got their tank down pretty low whenever they started backing off, if I remember right.
I think...
So I thought they still had Greymane and...
So you guys didn't actually see this. They rotated Greymane out to start on their camp.
Okay.
Oh, we called that.
I don't remember that, but...
In-game, Looney called it out. He's like, Greymane left, and that's when we went to push on bot camp.
Okay.
And you had rotated 2 out to your camp, so you finished your camp before Greymane was able to start rotating back, so you actually got numbers at some point during that fight as well.
Yeah.
And also, hello, I don't recognize you by Discord name.
Senpai.
Oh.
I am the Karazim.
Senpai.
Ah, very cool. So then if we've got the brains of the operation here, what influenced that Kerosene pick?
We needed something to kill the Li Ming and something to not die, and it just kind of fit nicely.
Kerosene is not the first hero that comes to mind when I think kills Li Ming and doesn't die. I'm just not what I think of, but teach your own.
Just when you get to go damage and you have a healer, and you can get directly in her face.
To be fair, both of Kerazeem's heroics are not die buttons in their own way.
Yeah, that is true.
Not die, kill people, yeah.
The thing was, it dealt with Muradin too, because he was just a big bully at first, and then 7-sided strike, and he couldn't be as aggressive, so it kind of eased off the Muradin for us.
Mm-hmm. Also, whenever we saw the Sonya Andy one, like, we knew they were going to leap in with Light Bomb.
Yeah.
Or at least assumed it, so if we could just delete her, that works too.
Alright, we have confirmation. You were the second match, not the third, because one of the games in one of the other series was the Garden of Terror game.
Oh.
That's a long game. that is a concurrent opinion right there. Oh my goodness.
Garden of Terror is slower than Spider Queen. Yup.
Yeah, but it was also more popular than a lot of the other maps in the vote this season, so take that for what you will.
It was actually cool to be able to see all the results for them.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And he say accept.
Going in, looking at the game number 2, if you don't mind my asking, why Yrel on Towers of Doom? I feel like there's a pretty static set of hero priorities for the double soak, and Yrel is not particularly high on there.
It's kind of just like, we were trying to figure out who he had that we could double soak with, and it wasn't the best, but it worked out, I feel like. Like, it did what we needed of it.
Okay, because she was very impactful during the team fights.
Yeah.
but come end of the game was down like 6,500 XP compared to Zool.
I didn't think it was that bad, but yeah. Like, there's not many people that beat Zool to begin with, so I kind of just figure she can hold off well enough and do well in the fight, so.
On the whole, though, a very close game, very entertaining one, especially for the casters in the audience coming down to a massive throw pit on the boss.
Oh,
That almost worked out.
If you don't mind my asking, who made the call to take bot keep?
That was me.
Ah.
Yeah. I thought we had 5 shots, or 5 health still on core.
Math on stream. Math on stream.
Yeah. But
on the
we
whole,
can take
though,
that back and then we'll be fine, but like, we didn't really get the choice to play that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you just kind of mess up math because it's a high stress scenario and you think, yeah, we can give this up and be fine. Oh no, we can't.
Yup, and then Looney calls out, hey, they're on boss, and it's like, oh, we need to get top as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And then-
we almost made it work.
It was very close.
yeah. I think
Just
if
probably surviving long enough outside the maw. And us basically having to feed 2 people in at the start just to stall for the rest of the team.
Yep. And then I'm so glad that you guys ended up winning because I get to ask this question of y'all. We noticed coming into game number 3, you bring in Crispy, the player that when you look at their profile is the world's most obvious one-trick Zeratul, and then you have them play Blaze. What's up with that?
Honestly, like, I don't know how many more games we'll have with Crispy, so it's just like we want to get some games with him while he's still here, and then like his Zeratul is good, but on the map, Blaze is what we needed. Like, we were planning on going Zool, so we needed the extra beefy front line instead of either an offlane Zeratul on Spider Queen or like even just running them on the 4-man.
and follow CC on the ley lines. That was also.
I will say, on the whole, I really enjoyed the 3-stack of Zool, Nazebo, Stukov. Any errant bone prison could threaten death on just about anybody if they didn't have the right amount of respect for it, and even sometimes if they did. Like, there was...
Yeah, I would just throw it out, and then you get the cleanse from either Brightwing or...
Yeah, you get the
Leoric
cleanse. Leoric pops E. There was even one time during the opponent's Webweaver phase under your mid fort where you put the Bone Prison onto May. May pops her Ice Block equivalent, but by the time the Bone Prison actually comes into existence, you've already ripped through the shield. So she gets hit with the root, she's in the silence, and then there's a wall put around outside of her. I don't know if she ended up dying, but the composition looks scary as hell.
Mm-hmm. Like, whenever it does work out, it's a lot of fun, too. But, like, also with May there, like, you have to just pop the shield for the armor. Like, you're going to be trapped inside the wall either way, unless you can cleanse the root and then instantly cancel and back out before the wall hits.
So for no reason in particular, you said this has had mixed levels of success. What would you say have been contributing factors to this not succeeding in the games that it succeeded against for no reason in particular?
Mostly just us not playing it right. Like,
Damn it!
Wait, hold on.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
Alright.
crazy.
It's alright.
Crazy.
No hard counters to it.
Ah.
We just win it when we play it right. We
Yeah,
do it
that's
right.
until we bring in the insider and y'all just don't happen to execute it well. Look at
Yup.
that. Oh darn! Wow. Why do your medieval ley line your minions at home? Can't tell you why.
Yep, that's what we do best.
There's a traitor in the midst.
Ace, do you have any other particular questions about the match?
I do not. I think we touched on just about everything. In general, just want to ask where we're looking around trying to find where the players had come from and everything. This seems like an amalgamation of a bunch of previous Psistorm teams. How has this team come about?
So, I joined at least with Crispy, Looney, one of the other guys that wasn't here tonight, and we were on a team together a year ago for
Yeah,
the
Mortals.
NGS season. Then we lost a couple, picked up Bramble, and then we lost another one, picked up Notice, who he was on the Banshees, Psistorm Banshees.
Yep, we played them last season.
Yep, and so we ended up picking him up. Not really sure what happened there, but yeah.
I wasn't able to play because of work schedule, and then last minute it switched, and they needed a player, and I was like, "Let's go."
But then we picked up Zanaya, who he was on one of the probe teams, but I think his schedule also just wasn't working, so we picked him up as a sub, and we just picked up Rook too.
It's a good organization. Everybody sticks around. Shout out to Psistorm, if that's okay.
Like the other two teams, like we help each other out a lot. Now that the probes are in Div A, we get scrims there too. Been scrimming the Banshees for a while.
Yeah, don't tell CCS Clouded Minds, Phoenix Rising, or ICC, or Regen, but I think Psistorm might be my favorite org.
Nice.
Well, just...
Hey, we'll take it.
Why is that, Ektar? Is it relation to anything about Heroes of the Storm?
I've modded for a couple of the teams. I've had really good interactions with all the players. Also, they support the StarCraft scene, which definitely helps.
Yep.
They do. Yep. Cyan.
Yeah, and
they've got all
Cyan, I talked to before and said it was so cool that they had a pro StarCraft player on their Heroes team, and he's like, well, I'm not really a pro player.
Only GM20.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are.
Only, I'm pretty sure, has participated in, like, some of the WCS events in the past, like,
Oh, yeah. Nothing too important or anything.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, just a big fan overall. But
and I mean, all their teams are named after StarCraft units and everything. That's cool.
If I'm not mistaken, and correct me because I could be, but don't they also have some kind of an involvement in the Ravencourt side league?
I don't believe so. At least nothing I know about.
Okay. I couldn't remember if Ravencourt was their own thing or if it was like a splinter group off of Psistorm as well.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure Ravencourt.
Yeah, we faced them in NG.
Too.
Yeah, they have.
And I don't know how much Psistorm's been doing, at least as far as Heroes of the Storm, since like BlizzCon died, or Heroes.
Oh no, we just recently hosted a tournament, like a cash tournament.
I know, but that's been it recently. So.
Still good stuff.
Yeah.
Any Heroes of the Storm content created is greatly appreciated at this point.
Oh yeah, especially right now.
But
that's the game alive.
That's really all I had for the interview, so I'm going to give it on to the two of you for any shoutouts you want to give. Obviously, shoutouts to Psistorm for being awesome, but, anyone else you'd like to shout out?
Yeah. Shout out to you guys. Always appreciate casters coming around. But then, shout out to the other team. Like, they gave us some good games.
Yeah, these were really good ones. I'm hoping to see some other good matches here in AISA season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We want to put on good games for our fans.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming in for this interview, and good luck with the rest of your season. And congrats on your 2-1 victory.
Thank you.
GG's.
Have a good one.
You as well. Alrighty, and that's just about going to do it for us tonight. Ace, as always, thank you for coming by. Thank you, everyone in Twitch chat, seeing Jakey and Spectrum were in there. Infofox was there earlier, I don't know if he still is, and a bunch of players from both teams. Really appreciate you coming by, dropping the follows, and your absolutely nothing's in the chat.
All right, Raid Mongoose _22. Their match is still going. They're level 8.
Gonna be rating them. Once again, thank you everyone for coming by. We will see you next time. Bye.